Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you feel like you are just fighting against yourself in this journey with your health, you feel like you're just falling apart, this video will discuss the key concept and foundational overview as to why you're feeling that way, because it is legitimate. You do feel like you're falling apart. I certainly did, and I see it every day with my patients. Just one thing after another keeps going wrong. We need to have a perspective shift in the entire health and wellness industry because there's been a growing schism that doesn't need to be your only two options as an American for your health. So let's go over how to work with your biology today. And come up with a different system so that you can get your health back. You can get your vitality, your hormones balanced, your energy throughout the day. All of that is possible. Overcoming whatever pathogen you may be fighting against, all of that is entirely possible. But we must come back to the foundational first principles. First principles, these are the underlying assumptions that we make about a system. So your body is a system, right? It's a system composed of multiple underlying systems, right? So we have your endocrine system, your immune system. There's some nuance there. You don't actually have an immune system. Your body is an immune system. It is the coordinated effort of the different organs that make up that system that then allow you to fight off infection and illness and all that kind of stuff. But we also have your respiratory system, your cardiovascular system, your neurological system, including your brain. These are the branches that modern medicine has turned into, right? Where you're seeing specialist after specialist after specialist. You go see your endocrinologist, you go see your cardiologist, your pulmonologist, your nephrologist, which is your kidney doctor and your lung doctor, and all of the in between. And none of them really effectively communicate, and you're just left confused and lost with no answers. Tell me that's not how it works. That's exactly how it works. I just actually saw it the other day. I see it every day. I work at the hospital where the neurologist was not communicating with the cardiologist, and the family was left confused and lost. This is complete nonsense. To isolate everything out and to ignore the system as a whole. You may have heart problems. You may have kidney problems. You may have infection problems and immune system problems. How does that interplay with the rest of the system as a whole? Because we've gone way too narrow, we've narrowed way too far down and have lost the forest for the trees. So, what do we do? What is the option? Well, the option is to take a step back and go back to the very beginning. Zoom out completely. Get out of your head. You're not going to be able to think your way to health. It's just not going to happen. And to be fair, you shouldn't have to think your way to health. All of the cultures throughout history who have been healthy by default as a consequence of their environment. It's not because they had crazy good doctors and amazing drugs. They were just healthy because of their cultural habits and traditions, the foods that they ate, the water that they drank, and the lifestyles that they lived. So this brings us back to first principles, the underlying assumptions about the systems of our body and the system as a whole. You have your body as a system. Then you have the external environment is a system that is communicating and interacting with your system. And then your system is responding to that external stimuli. Now, there's all kinds of details and nuance here, guys. But And there's internal forces at work as well. This can come in the form of toxic emotions, nutrient deficiency, toxic overload, things like mold and environmental toxins. All of these things play a role. And without addressing and identifying that these things are playing a role, we are doing you a disservice. We're not doing everything that we possibly can. So it really bothers me when I hear and am part of the conversations at the hospital where we say, I'm sorry, we did everything we could. No, we did not. We did not appropriately feed the person with well-balanced, well-rounded, nourishing foods. We didn't do plenty of other things as far as nutrient replenishment and all of that kind of good stuff, because we are looking at it through one lens, which is the lens of modern medicine, which is your body is breaking down and all we can do is give you drugs and do surgery. And everything else is bullshit. That's all that we see. It is pure tunnel vision. Everything else is dismissed. It's just your germs and your genetics, and you have no power. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of fighting against your body, then let's jump right in. So here we have the mainstream approach and the regenerative approach. The mainstream approach is fighting your biology. It's all the things that you have been told to do by the industry, by your doctor, by your trainer. You know, it is the mainstream way of thinking, what you're used to thinking. But there's an alternative. There is a regenerative approach where you're working with your biology. And the possibilities with this approach are completely underestimated and borderline miraculous, because we're fundamentally shifting how we think about health and about the body. So in the mainstream approach, what do? What is the option? You suppress your symptoms with meds. That is all your medications are doing. And if you think that your medications are doing anything else, you have a misunderstanding about what medications are, and you need to be educated on it, or you need to educate yourself on it. And I can certainly help with that. But all these are doing is suppressing your symptoms. Maybe you're in a stage in your life where you need that. Maybe meds are what are currently keeping you alive. I'm not going to say that in those cases, meds are unnecessary, but we should be working on this side of the equation to get you off of these as soon as possible. Whereas in a regenerative approach, we identify the root cause and restore function. Function, guys. This is why it's called functional medicine, because we are identifying the why, which is the root cause, and finding ways to restore the function. This is what leads to actual long-lasting health. The mainstream approach, you rely on synthetic supplements. This is one of the most harmful things that you could possibly be doing. It's a complete and total scam. Synthetic supplements, this is the crap that you get at Costco and Walgreens, and even in a lot of your functional medicine clinics, they're giving you these isolated supplements, high dose alpha lipoic acid, high dose B vitamins, high dose vitamin C. This is not what a true vitamin is. You're getting on basically a shell of you're getting the exterior of the car with no engine inside. This is how they get you hooked on recurring revenue every single month, right? Because you're completely dependent on those supplements that are so healthy, right? That's not true health. True health, real vitamins, where you get the entire engine with when you take the supplement, and therefore you actually restore function, is to use whole food nutrients and herbs. Now, herbs are still a bit of a band-aid. They can get quick results and help you feel good quickly to get you out of a hole. But it is nutrition and nutrients that your body desperately needs. So, herbs are kind of complementary. So herbs are complementary to whole food nutrition, but essential, what you need, the absolute essentials to rebuild your body, is good nutrition. And anybody who tells you otherwise is lying to your face or doing you a disservice, because nutrition is the thing that you have the most control over. Out of all of the health stuff that you could possibly learn, your nutrition is the thing that you have the most control over. The mainstream approach is always fear-based. Avoid this, suppress that. Oh, your cholesterol's too high. Let's give you a drug that destroys the enzyme that creates the cholesterol in your liver, and we'll artificially lower it and call it good. Pat ourselves on the back and say, you're safe. Yeah, that's not how it works. And it doesn't work for 50% of people, actually. The statistics are pretty god-awful. Whereas in the regenerative and functional approach, we are taking a proactive and empowered approach, creating resilience in the body, increasing your supply of nutrients, restoring the function of the body. Yes, it's entirely possible and happens all the time. In the mainstream, they count calories and macros, and that's the only thing that is even considered is calories. If you're not, are you in a calorie deficit? Are you are you counting your macros? Blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing everywhere. And there are good calories and macro coaches. And I'm not going to say that calories don't matter, because they do, but to only focus on calories and let that lead you into ignoring nutrient density and quality of your food is a complete disservice to you. We must be focusing on nutrient-dense foods, the foods that made us human, the foods that we know that cultures were eating and living vibrant, strong, healthful lives. And I'm not talking about cavemen. I'm talking about just over 100 years ago or less. We found these cultures and studied what they were eating. Turns out they were all eating different things, but they were natural foods in their environment. And it wasn't just carnivore, and it wasn't vegan, and it wasn't even vegetarian. Every single culture included animal products in their way of eating. It was essential nutrition. Animal products are the most nutrient-dense foods that you can possibly get. We're talking seafood, we're talking land-based food, beef, bison, elk, venison, chicken. Well-raised chicken is still fantastic nutrition and doesn't need to be poo-pooed. Quality is what matters. I'm also going to add in here on the fly, raw foods. Every single culture included something raw. Look at Japan. They eat tons of raw fish. Cultures all over the world had some sort of raw animal nutrition, whether it be raw milk, raw butter, raw meat. Some cultures even drink blood of animals, which I don't recommend. But it's very interesting. So every culture included raw foods. This is another way to maximize your nutrition, get those incredible enzymes. You can be safe about this. You need to, if this totally triggers you, you've got some learning to do. We can talk about it. Because when I first learned about that, I was like, no way, that's crazy. Because I was vegan. But now I know that Intelligently sourced and diligently sourced and prepared raw animal foods are extremely, extremely healthful and are a missing piece in what a lot of people's dietary puzzle. In the mainstream, we also basically when we talk about fitness, this is one thing that I really want to talk about here, where we have health and fitness, and it has now been isolated and separated from each other, where on one side we have basically nothing but bodybuilders who are injecting steroids and doing these crazy workouts. And then everybody thinks that, drinking monsters and pre-workouts and chicken and broccoli and achieving incredible physiques, but sacrificing their health in the pursuit of that. That is not a healthy thing to do. So let's get on the same page about that. That's fitness. And it's not the fitness that I'm talking about when I say fitness. Clearly, I'm not a bodybuilder. Okay. So, and I'm not poo-pooing on bodybuilding. I love bodybuilding, and I love the things that those guys accomplish, because it's something that I don't think I could ever do. But why is health and fitness become separated? We need to bring that back together. They are one and the same when you use the right systems. You don't have to, because what do you think right now to get fit, to lose weight? What do you think is required? What pops into your mind? You go, oh, I got to go to the gym 5 days, 6 days a week. I got to run miles upon miles. I got to get on the treadmill. I got to burn myself out. I have to absolutely destroy myself at the gym to get any kind of results. Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't do any of that. And none of that is necessary at all. And it's, in fact, the wrong approach. You have been lied to, because most of mainstream fitness and even doctors who think about fitness think about, building muscle the traditional bodybuilding way, being in the gym all the time. And no one wants to very few people actually want to do that. How do I think about this? What I think about, my priority is, what could my parents do? My parents who have, pain, aches and pains. They're not feeling strong. They don't want to live in the gym. And in fact, if I were to just be like, yeah, go do a squat, it would lead to disastrous outcomes with them. And then I also think about my patients in the hospital, and I'm not going to tell them to go get under a squat bar. So, but I also know that exercise is so crucial and movement is so crucial to health, and is a fundamental piece of the puzzle. So what do we do? What can we do? There's tons of great stuff we can do, guys. There's great stuff that anyone from, a tiny child to an older adult can get amazing exercise in, learn how to move efficiently and recover well. And you don't have to be working out 5 to 6 days a week, living in the gym, counting your calories, running on the treadmill. That is not a way to replenish and restore function in the body. That's actually a way to drive down function in the body and to increase the stress and to demand more nutrients. Because what do you have to do? You have to eat more when you train that way, and all of that stuff. So I'm definitely, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that all of that is bad. There is lots of good. I still do traditional exercises, pull-ups and curls and all that kind of stuff, push-ups. But when we are looking at the big picture of mainstream fitness, look at the consequences. Everybody is sore and in pain, and their joints are getting worse, and they're injuring themselves. And this was me. I was at a point in my wellness and health journey that I could not actually tolerate lifting free weights. It was making things worse. So I had to figure out and open my mind to different ways of exercising so that I could still exercise and restore function in my body without totally hurting myself and getting worse. So it's a balancing act here, guys. And it's part of opening your mind to a different way of thinking so that you can heal and that you're not constantly demanding more on your body. The mainstream, speaking of health, my health journey and hormone issues, the mainstream wants to medicate you with your hormone issues. What do they want to do? They want to put you immediately on hormone replacement therapy. That is their only resolution. And it can be effective, especially in the short term. Um, it can restore a lot of, it can help you sleep and all that stuff. But is it the fullest truth? Is it the most that you can do for you? Is it actually restoring your health? Or is it skipping over some fundamental aspects? That's the real question. We have to ask better questions. We can't just jump the gun. Well, actually, you certainly can. You can do whatever you want. But I personally am biased against this because I believe that God gave us everything that we need to be healthy. All we have to do is learn how to use it and recognize it and open our minds to it. So instead of medicating, right, I don't use meds. The regenerative and functional approach is to restore hormonal balance naturally. This is completely possible, guys. And it's way simpler than you could possibly think. And it comes down to the equation of toxicity and nutrient deficiency equals health. And we will definitely talk more about that if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say that. The mainstream approach treats body parts separately, whereas the functional approach treats the body as one interconnected system. This is the systems based thinking, not cardiac, not heart and lung and brain and kidneys and endocrinologists and separating everything out into this smorgasbord of confusion and bullshit so that you're getting worse outcomes and then you're getting more and more drugs and more surgery. That is this mainstream approach. The regenerative approach and the functional approach is to say, no, the body is one interconnected system. Everything is working together. And we cannot simply isolate everything out into your liver and your kidneys and your heart and all that stuff. There is value there. It's very real that you have these problems in those isolated systems. But how is the rest of the system interplaying with that and influencing that? That is what we need to start focusing on. The mainstream system just, doesn't really provide you any strategies for building and adapting to stress. Stress is the ultimate reason. There are multiple forms of stress. I'm not just talking about feeling stressed, although that's very, very important. The emotion you feel of I am stressed out, and but they give you no solutions, right? Besides Papa Xanax, which is, I mean, it's insulting. How are you not angry about this? To say it's all in your head, and there's nothing you can do about it. Here's a Xanax. That's a fucking insult. And it's not real health. It's not health at all. It's medicine, but it ain't health. And I can assure you of that. The last thing, this list is basically infinite, but the last thing that I wanted to talk about was weight loss through restriction, right? Caloric restriction. Whereas, and that's the mainstream approach. Whereas over here on this side, we've got a focus on metabolic health that leads to sustainable results. And this is heavily connected to the nutrient density and quality of your food up here. You cannot restrict. And this side can be summed up as this: restrict, kill, block, destroy, remove. This side is restore, rebuild, reconnect, recharge, and replenish. To develop resilience as a system, so that you can operate in the world to your fullest, most vital extent. This, I don't know about you, but that's the side that I want to be on. I want nothing to do with this. And you do have the choice. You do have the option. The only thing that's limiting you is in here. It's not your genes. It's not your genetics. It's the same thing. It's not your genetics. So I was just taking care of an open heart patient who told me, he's 50 something years old. He just had his chest ripped open and veins and arteries replaced. And he's telling me that, there's nothing he could do about it. It's just his genetics. And then the guy won't even eat a vegetable. Not that vegetables are the holy grail of nutrition, but he clearly is not eating anything healthy. So if you're not eating anything healthy, don't talk about your genetics. I have no fucking patience for it anymore. You need to change your nutrition. You need to change the inputs into the system. If you change that, you end up on this side of the equation where you're actually healing. If you choose to do nothing, you will end up on this side of the system. All right, guys, let's look at this just one more way, because I think this is so, so crucial. This is just another way of looking at it. These are the two choices that you have. Oh no, you can't even see it. Let's change the color. Degeneration and regeneration. These are spirals of momentum. This is the regeneration on this side. And this is the degeneration down here. Believe it or not, you have the option. You have the choice. If you simply open your mind, this degenerative spiral, this is meds and surgery and weight gain and sleep issues, or maybe said differently, the weight and the sleep issues and the terrible nutrition leads to nothing but drugs and surgery at the very end of the spiral. Meds and surgery and death. I see it every day. I'm not going to pull any punches here, guys, because I know that you can do something about it. And it was a journey for me to get to this point. So if you're feeling affronted and, like I'm full of shit, that is perfectly logical and reasonable for you to feel that way. And I totally understand. But I want to invite you to open your mind to a different way. This is poor sleep and poor digestion and poor nutrition. Maybe even if you're trying and you're still just spiraling down into illness and death. And that's not what I want for you. What if you opened your mind to a different way? Saying, no, I'm going to step back into the driver's seat. I'm going to take control over what I can. You can't control everything. You can do, I know everybody's got their stories about their uncle who ran marathons and still, collapsed at 50 of a crazy heart attack. That's because marathons are not a healthy thing to do. So what you think is healthy needs to dramatically shift. Regeneration. Oh my gosh, I didn't even write the actual proper word. Regeneration. This is what your body wants to do. Your body wants to heal. It wants to be healthy. It wants to have babies and feel amazing and just be killing it in the best way. This is healing, restoring, good sleep, minimal to no symptoms. Digestion is strong. Your gut health is great. You have no aches or pains in your body, or minimal. This is increased energy. Let's take a look at this in another way. On this negative spiral of degeneration, this is where you wake up one day and say, I don't know what happened, but I feel like shit. I'm sick. You're getting diagnoses and developing conditions. You are on the spiral, the degenerative spiral. And it all starts with an unbalanced lifestyle. And then that momentum carries you further from stress and poor sleep, poor digestion, gut issues, nutrient deficiency, which then causes fatigue and hormone imbalances. And you're gaining weight out of nowhere. And you've got chronic inflammation that then leads to disease. This is the spiral that most people are on in America. This is what the American system has set up for us. So if you live a default American life, you can be sure you are on this side of the spiral. Whereas you have the choice to be on the regenerative side of the spiral, regardless of your family history, genetics, all the things that you blame to stay on this downward spiral. You have the choice to start on your path up. This is entirely possible and doable and has been done. And it's a matter of setting up systems that work for you. This regenerative spiral means good restorative sleep, replacing nutrients to give your body what it needs, having all day energy, balanced hormones, your emotions are good, you're confident, you're moving through life on easy mode, essentially, compared to everyone else, right? That means we are as independent as possible and strong and mobile and not on any medications, not dependent on anybody or anything. Well, to an extent, minimal dependence on larger systems and maximal dependence on yourself and being able to handle your own stuff and not even really having much stuff to handle in the first place because you got on this regenerative spiral that built momentum and is now paying off in the biggest dividends you could ever imagine. This is the spiral that I want you to be on, and that I don't understand why anyone would not be on that, want to be on that spiral. Maybe it's because I see such suffering and horrible health day in and day out. And I know that health is the one thing that, even though you may be distracted by the other things in the world, there's always something to be distracted about. But the sick man only wishes for one thing, and that is his health. So guys, your body isn't broken. It just needs to be given the right conditions to heal. We need to start asking better questions. We need to start going back, zooming out, and taking a whole other look at the systems we have set up and the presumptions we have about our health. Because you have the options, and it's not just the mainstream health and fitness and modern medicine. There is another path that you can choose. And it's not really well known, but it is out there. So remember that once you start giving your body action, everything that it needs, you can change your position. You can come back from this, build momentum, and go all the way up through the regeneration spiral. I did it myself, and I know many people who have done it. And so you are either moving towards health with your daily decisions or you're moving towards disease. These are your only two options. There's nothing else. And no matter how good your doctor is, he will never be able to put you all back together. And all the different doctors in the world will never be able to put you back together to the extent that you think that they can. So it's time to take action for yourself to say, no, I'm not going to become like this. I'm not going to fall into this trap. This trap should make you angry. This trap should make you want to do something with your life and your health. You're not unlucky. You're not cursed with bad genetics. There are things that you have not considered that are creating imbalances in your body that are leading to your conditions and diagnoses. And your job isn't to fix it necessarily. And that's not my job either, but to simply remove what's blocking your way, to get you on the regeneration spiral, to get your body the things that it needs to launch and start healing, which I went over in my Core 4 video. I'll see if I can put the link. I don't actually know how to do that. But ask yourself, guys, what if instead of fighting your biology, you worked with it? What if instead of fighting against yourself and trying to restrict your calories by eating all these pre-measured out foods and that are packaged and full of synthetic crazy ingredients that are causing crazy amounts of disease, what if instead you started working with your body? You started fueling your body. You started giving it the right conditions so that it can heal. This is how to do it. It is simply a matter of giving the right conditions so that the body can do what it does best, which is to heal. Because the biggest lie that we've been told is that you are a broken and faulty machine that needs to be fixed by a mechanic, aka your doctor. That is a lie. Your body desires healing, and it is the best healing organism on the entire planet. In fact, all biology is oriented towards healing. So start exploring and identifying the daily things that you're doing, the daily choices that you're making. Are they contributing to the regeneration spiral, or are they contributing to the degeneration and disease negative spiral? Once you start identifying those things and making changes, you can change the whole trajectory of your life. If this has clicked for you, start making small decisions. Change your food. Eat real, natural, healthful foods created by God, not created by a lab and a bunch of food scientists. Move in a way that supports your body. Prioritize your sleep. And most importantly, stop working against your biology. Guys, if what I'm talking about here resonated with you, click the link in my bio to take the first small step on your journey and fill out a systems survey. Then we'll hop on a call and we can talk about the best moves forward for you. So click the link below if you're ready to start making real changes in your health. And remember to keep going, keep questioning. Your answers are out there.